I had a video planned. I was going to work on a different technique for you a while ago, but this particular photo fell into my lap today, and it's due tomorrow. So I figured, why not do it, right? Let's do it. So I'll talk to you about some of the things that this is needing. The customer is, I believe, her, from the sound of the person on the phone, and what she needed done, she detailed in a PDF, which she sent with the photo. So here is a low resolution PDF that she sent, and she has marked a few things. She wants the skin tones evened out on the skin, it looks like, everywhere that skin is showing. She would like the lens flare from the backlighting removed, which could be a very interesting challenge. We'll see what I do about that. And then she'd like these two flowers removed. I am going to see about removing maybe just this back one because of the way it's positioned. I'm hoping to just replace the head on this one. This stem is going through enough other items that I'd rather not replace the flower with leaves if I can get away with it. And just interpreting what the customer wants, I'm going to assume that it's because this flower wasn't blooming and looking nice for her. I haven't worked for brides in a while. Typically they're a handful. She sounded nice enough, but I'm thinking as long as the flower is pretty, she'll be okay with it. So we'll see. So here is a flower that I found online. It's nice high resolution, and I think if I swap it out for this one, I should be alright. I'm not a florist. I'm thinking it's the same species of flower. It took a lot of digging to find, but I think it's the right one. But these are a little bit past their prime, so I think if I give her one good one, she'll be okay with it. This is another example that I found online that I am keeping just in case the other one doesn't look good enough for me. So, dealing with skin tones first. I'm thinking I want to start with him, so I'll zoom in, Control plus, and we'll just focus on him for a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new solid color layer, and I'll just pick a color. I'll click on the mask and invert it because I don't want it everywhere, and just double clicking on this. Oh, actually, let me show you what I plan to do in terms of finding the right skin tone. You've got your eyedropper tool here, and you want it set in advance. By default, it's set to point sample. In my experience, you'll never ever use it as a point sample. You'll want it set as more of an average. I'm going to set it as a nice high average, meaning when I click to sample the color of his skin, it will select a color that is an average of all the skin, 11 pixels in every direction. So I'll do that. And double clicking on this color, I'm going to sample some healthy skin right here. Alright, something right in there. B for brush. And clicking on the mask, I will start painting with white on the mask to start exposing this. Okay, so I already, I should have changed this beforehand. Let me set it to color. Okay, so now everything that I paint will blend as color instead of just covering over the existing pixels. So right now we're looking alright actually. It's not perfect, but it's alright. Go along here. No, don't think I want any red in his eyebrows. Some people benefit from that, but okay, we'll do that. Now, it doesn't look natural at all, so what I'll do is I'll lower the opacity. I'm thinking something in the, let's see, 50%'s looking really good. So here's my before, here's my after. Very nice in terms of evening out his skin. Just to nitpick, because she seems like a customer who notices every little thing. I'll hit this area on his neck and see if that enhances it at all. And then I'll get this area right below the lip. Okay. Alright, so using that same tone, I'm going to repaint his hand. So, going over this very softly. There we go. Hit every corner. Now my layer is still set to 51%, so no matter what I do, I'm only getting 51% of the full effect. So I'm going to assume that this will work in terms of matching his forehead, but if it ends up being too much or not looking legitimate, I will tone it down a little bit. Let's zoom out and check out our difference. Okay, so skin tone's much less green, fewer grays present in the skin. I think that's good enough. I think we've got it. Alright, let's address hers. Now, looking at what she said, she wants the skin tones evened or enhanced, and she did not say enhanced down here. So, just interpreting what she said, I'm thinking she wants more contrast in the face, so that the face calls more attention. In fact, I could probably do that on his too, but let's work on the coloring first. So let's see if, that color actually is working really well on her too, before, after. It's a very subtle change. Her skin is mostly even along the face, but I will hit a couple of spots just to, yeah, there we go. Now, with her, I'm not too worried about hitting the eyebrows because her hair already has a reddish tint to it. So it'll only benefit from a little bit of red highlighting. Alright, going along the chin. Okay, so before, after. Hopefully YouTube allows you to see these differences, because sometimes their color settings mess with video content a little bit. Okay, so painting along the knuckles. Yeah, looks pretty good. I don't know. Oh, okay. So there's still a good amount of contrast between their hands, even if I paint their hands with the same color. Because color is a special adjustment layer that does not affect contrast. So even if I painted her arm in black, it wouldn't make her arm black, it would just take the color out of it, because a color layer does not affect contrast, it just adjusts the hues there. Alright, just even out her hand here as well with that same color. Not too shabby. I know I should probably do a more painterly effect with all of this stuff and really play up the different hues and things, but where I'm allowing so much of the underlying color to show through, I can really just paint everything in one color without getting myself into some sort of creative trouble. If if we zoom out and do the before and after, there's still plenty of skin tones available in that because I've allowed so much to show through. I'll even back it down to 40%. Very, very, very subtle. But it'll give her the effect she asked for. She wanted even skin tones. This will even out the skin tones. So, painting along the knee. There we go. Paint around this grass a little bit. I don't want to affect the grass. Go down there. So, alright. Backing out. Before, after. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so here's where I'm going to have to get experimental. She seems to feel very strongly about this lens flare that created a rainbow. This is why I know it's artistic, but I avoid shooting into the sun at all costs because I hate stuff like this. I really do. Alright, so new solid color layer. Let's see if I can attack it the same way. I haven't prepped any of this stuff in advance, so I may fail miserably. We'll see. So again, it's taking an 11 by 11 average. Let's pick that area right there. Cool, kind of a grayish blue. And I will change it to blend as color. And let's see how much of this disappears just when I recolor it. So painting, and make my brush smaller. Okay, tracing around the hair ever so gently, going into every little corner, right up in there. Very nice. Okay, hit this little area right there. Okay, so hair can be a delicate thing. This is my trademark secret to masking hair. A lot of people have difficulty masking hair because they want to use a very soft brush and then you get a haloing effect. Whenever I have to do hair, I grab the Smudge Tool. Using the Smudge Tool for masking isn't something that people think about doing very much, but I love it. So I select the Smudge Tool, and this brush right here down at the bottom of your default brushes is wonderful for masking hair. So you can see, actually I don't know if my screen capture shows this brush very well at all, but I see it as a series of little brush fibers. So I'll make the brush fibers smaller and just kind of gradually introduce all this color that I was painting on the mask into the hair. And if you have to cut somebody out and put them in a new environment, this trick works wonderfully. Like if I was going to put a blue sky behind these people, I could brush the blue sky into his hair like this, just following the grain of his hair, or the direction of his hair, and it would look great. Even on the beard stubble, works wonderfully. With women's hair, you have to go kind of longer strokes, introduce the sky element gradually that way. But thank heaven they didn't have me replace the sky. So, backing out, I want to see what that did. I like it. I think it needs to be a little more saturated. So, the nice thing is, working with a mask, I've already defined the area. This mask applies the color wherever I painted. So I can pick a new color, and it's no additional work at all. Let's try this darker area here. It didn't change enough for me. Let me go a little more saturated. Nope, don't like it. Don't like it. Find it. There we go. That's pretty good right there. There's a bit of a highlight on her sleeve, but I don't think it bothers me too terribly. We'll take a look up close. We're getting a little bit of discoloration on those knuckles, so I think I'll fix that by changing the order of the layers. If I bring this green downward, I can just recolor those knuckles with this layer that I recolored all of the skin with. So I'll do that really quick. Just go around every knuckle. Go around the knuckle. There we go. And up into there. And now right here I have kind of a harsh brush stroke on the blue. If I alt click you can see it. It's just jutting out a lot. So I will switch to my smudge tool and just gradually drag some of this color up and in, drag it back down, and now you can kind of see that. And all of that detail isn't something that the customer will see at all because of the way that I've done it. So lens flare is removed. If I were nitpicking about it, and this is again why I don't shoot into the sun, I would be worried about this also, because the flare removes the contrast from this area entirely. So, but she didn't ask for that, and so I will take a pass, I guess. I will pass on that. Alright, brightness contrast layer, no, that's for lazy people. Let's do curves. So a nice S curve will give you good contrast. So just looking at the two faces, I'm going to bump up my highlights. I'm going to bump down my shadows. And let's see the before and after. You know what? I like that. In fact, I was going to mask their faces, but I think every bit of this photo is benefiting from that additional contrast. So I will leave it exactly as it is. Now, it has blown out a few details in that cheek, but let's face it, there weren't a lot there to begin with, so I think we're okay. Now to address the bigger beast, which is this flower that goes all the way up there. So, here we go. I'm going to create a new empty layer, hitting Control-Shift-N. I'm going to call it Flower Removal. So, big empty layer in which I will paint pants over the top of that stem. So, zooming in nice and tight. Oh, okay, my OCD took over. I really need to paint this sleeve. It's got too many skin tones bleeding into it. Yeah. It's called light noise. Light noise is introduced when you shoot into the sun. Go like that. Then I'll hit X to paint out the extra details there that I don't want. Okay, looks very nice. Okay, so back to what I was doing. We'll go right in here. Alright, so it proceeds from right about there. I will start right here and work downward and see at what point it stops bothering me. So, S for stamp, I'll click on some jeans, get a little bigger brush, and start painting out that stem. Okay, so I'm thinking a little bit of cheating is in order. Let's borrow some here and just kind of taper it off a little bit. Just taper, 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 taper. Down in there. Just like that. Oh, maybe I do have to do the whole thing. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna borrow some lighter tones, and then I'm going to blend that mess right there with some healing. Okay, switching back to the stamper, making the stamper a little bigger, and I'm going to paint over this with 20%. So 20%, notice 20%, and 40%, and 60%. Actually, it's just 20% again and again, isn't it? Yeah, just 20% more, 20% more. Okay, and get down here, 100%. We'll cut that off right there. Oops. Alright, right in there. That's good right there, I think. Let me trace along this one more time. There we go. And then the blending pass. Do a little blending pass. Blend right along there. There we go. Okay. So now we run into tricky things like this pant fold goes there, this pant fold goes there, another pant fold there. We've got the face of the watch to deal with, so we'll just be systematic about it. So switching to the stamper, get it the size of the stem, and paint. Interesting. Why is it so saturated? I guess I am borrowing from a more saturated area. Let's undo that. Let me see if the healer just does it for me. Go down. When I release, the healer will reinterpret those pixels to match the tones around them. Yeah, good enough. I like it. Okay, so we'll get this fold now. Very good. Okay. Got a little bit of a highlight there. Let's try it again. Actually, let's not try it again. Let's deal with that if and when we've finished this other stuff, and then we can blend it all together. Okay, that's good. Good, 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 good. Making my brush about the size of the stem again. I'm going to try and borrow from here and try very hard to line it up. Okay, not too bad. I'm going to borrow these tones from the other bit. We don't have a lot of watch band to work with, so we have to be careful. Just painting watch band into existence. The grain in this wedding photo is a little funny, almost like someone took it on a phone. Kind of an odd choice. Okay, just blink it out. I wish I had a better idea of what the watch looked like. Kind of having to invent quite a bit. Okay, so I don't have the curved watch face pixels needed to negotiate this curve. So what I end up doing is borrowing. So let's grab our background, switch to our marquee, and I want to grab some of that, and Control J to copy it into a new layer. And I will move it. Oh, it's being covered up. See, it's going underneath all of my retouches. So we'll move it on top. Put it in position and Control T to rotate it. There we go. Move it into position And rotate some more, rotate, rotate, rotate. Okay, so there's a bit of a glint there. I want to preserve that, so I'll be sure and get rid of. I'll be sure that that stays intact. Okay, when I like it, I hit enter, and it commits my changes. Now, I'm going to add a mask to this, but I'm going to add a black mask to hide the whole thing, because I want to paint everything into existence. So, if I turn the mask off, the piece is still there. It's just being hidden by virtue of having a black mask on it. So now, using a white brush, I will gently paint in just enough of the watch face to set this up for us. There we go. That's really nice. Okay, I am going to do the same thing on the upper end because trying to recreate that curve it's not something I'm looking forward to doing. So I'll merge that down because I'm content with it, and we'll do another experiment with, I think this curve right here will serve our purposes. Go like that, and I'll press Ctrl J on the background layer to duplicate it out, move it up so that it covers everything, and then we'll rotate. Now here's a good trick. If you're having a hard time lining something up when you're doing something like this, a good trick is to reach for your opacity, and you can see exactly where you're lining things up when you do this. So I kind of like that, but let's stretch it ever so slightly that way, because I don't feel like it's thick enough on that side. Yeah, about like that. Just, it wasn't feeling round enough on the back end. So, okay, very good. Alright, so painting with, oh, actually, let's do what I did last time. So, black mask, and then we'll just paint the watch face into existence with our white. Alright, that top end is giving me a bit of trouble. There we go. Now I pressed V for move, and I'm just kind of nudging this new watch face around. I want to get it perfect, because although the people that she's inviting to her wedding might not notice, she will definitely be looking for what I did to hide the flower. And it will be the most important thing in the world to her. So, alright, there is our wrist. Merge that down and keep working the wrist. So, there we go. Gently paint over that. Okay, and the watch band has been lost. So again, here's my layer that's covering everything up. I'm going to lower the opacity ever so slightly. I'm going to reach for my eraser, which you should never use, but I'm feeling too lazy to get a mask. I apologize. It's not good to be lazy. Okay, so I've got my stamper tool, and I'm just going to extend some watch band that way. Again, I don't really have a good notion of what this watch is supposed to look like based on what I have here, but I will try my best. So painting a little more watch band going that way. And I need a hard line. This looks like it has some sort of a diamond shape to it. So I'll need to recreate that if I can. So I'm going to alt-click and just borrow a little bit of No, I don't like it. Okay, that's what we'll do. We'll go to this layer and borrow that whole side and duplicate it. Bring it to the top. Ooh, you see what happened? I duplicated it, forgetting that I had replaced most of it. So let's undo that. Control-Alt-Z, Control-Alt-Z. What I actually need to do is a copy merged. So there I have my area. Control-Shift-C will copy everything that is visible. And then when I paste, there it is. Control-T to rotate, flip it around backward, move it into position, about right there. And same thing goes. I'm going to assume that it should be a lot brighter on this side. So I'll do a levels command on it and just brighten the whole thing up a bit, assuming that it's catching more light. Okay, now I'm hiding it, and I will paint it into being with my brush. Paint that way, paint that way, paint. Okay. I don't know that I'm selling it yet, but I am tenacious. I am tenacious, and I will pursue this course. There we go. Alright. I feel like that is good enough. We will see what she has to say. Alright, so assessing it from far away, I've definitely created some yellow elements by combining the blue jeans with the green of the stem, because I did use the healer as I went through this. So I'm just going to readdress this a little bit before I continue with the flower, because I am easily distracted. Okay, that's good. I like that. Let's hit this again. Try to get rid of any weird coloring to it. Okay, we've got kind of a dark spot. And again, no one's really going to notice these things, but you have to impress the client first, and then everyone that the client wanted to impress second. Okay, before, after, a lot of that highlight is already there. You see that? Right through here. None of that is me, but I'm taking responsibility for it because of what I did remove. So, alright, I gotta take it easier. I don't wanna be all night on it. So there's my flower removal layer. Switch to my stamper, and let's kind of imagine where that arm is supposed to go. Now you'll notice I'm following the muscle tones in the arm a little bit. I created a divot there, so I'm going to smooth that out now. There we go. So just reduplicating the natural tones and shadowing of the arm present here. That's got too much yellow in it. Let's see if I can... Oh, I know why it does. I haven't painted this. Let's go up here. I have a layer specifically dedicated to painting her skin even colors, and what do you know, when I paint that, it all evens out. Beautiful. Okay, I didn't think about this, but that cuff is going to be the hardest part of this image, I think. It is. there is not enough shirt to borrow for that cuff, which means, I don't know what it means, but it's going to be some work. Yeah, it's going to be some work. Alright, so what you'll run into when you're having to borrow a lot is you'll often create repeating patterns, which are a dead giveaway that something was removed. So I'm switching to my stamper to get the right size, because you don't want to borrow any more. Oops. Huh. How did that happen? There we go. You don't want to paint any more than you have to. Just paint what you have to. Worry about the rest later. So painting this out, painting this out. Borrowing here. Borrowing again. Borrowing down here. And this is going to be the dead giveaway. Trying to make these two sides meet. Oh boy. Well, you wanted it live and raw, folks. This is live and raw. Alright. I'm going to lasso everything that I just painted along that bottom edge. I'm going to rotate it. Like that. Okay. I'm feeling a little better about that now. Okay, borrow that. Paint that in there. You can already see some repeating patterns there in her muscle tone. So I'll get my healer, make the brush nice and small, and just randomize that pattern a little bit. There we go. Just borrowing little chunks by alt-clicking and putting them other places. Alright, no more procrastinating. Time to remove that flower. It is a bit of a nightmare. Okay, make my brush small and borrow right along this edge. Just borrowing little chunks, trying to mix things up a little bit by borrowing here, borrowing there. Don't allow yourself to get frustrated. Stuff like this can be frustrating, so do what you can. Like that stem, I took a moment to kind of take a breather from the trickier part and just attack something that's a little easier before I go back to this. Alright. Very good. Blending that in. Okay, I am creating a repeating pattern, but you know what? I'm going all in on this. It just needs to be covered up. I'll worry about the shirt texture afterward. I just want it gone. We have a difficult thing here. Let's look at our before after. See, this is one of those moments where I kind of pat myself on the back and go, you know, it was hard, but it's better than it was, and it'll get better the more you work on it. Sometimes you have to take those moments, because when you're in an industry like mine, you don't tend to get a lot of feedback, because if you've done your job correctly, then there's nothing to say about what you did, for good or for evil, so you kind of have to pat your own back a little bit. You know, that's true of a lot of jobs. I'm going to blend this together. I've got my healer now, and it's trying to bring them together. It's not doing a great job. I'll have to hit it a second time. Okay, that's a little more blended. Go like that. Good. And now that bottom edge is really standing out. Blend that. Okay, nice small brush. Alt click right on the cuff line. There we go. Not too bad. Now, we kind of have sort of an artificial blue looking denim down here now, and having stared at it for several minutes, I'm starting to notice it. I'm going to back this off to, oh, she does not want that color there, so I don't dare go lower than about 85. Let's go 84, and at 84%, and with my brush now set to, let's see, I've got my paintbrush. Let's make my paintbrush also 80% and just add a little bit of blue to this cuff that got bleached out by the sun. Just a little bit, just 80%. Just 80%. Backing out, not too bad. Wow. Seriously, folks, not bad at all. There's our overall before and after. Wow, I can't believe I did that. Cannot believe it. Okay, so there's one thing that is bugging me. That's a shadow. That's a shadow being cast by the flower that is no longer there. So let's look at that really quick. And then I'll worry about this last flower. So painting along there. Oops. Started borrowing flour. Like a good neighbor. Okay, got a repeating pattern there. Just wanted to see if the shadowy look was taken care of. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. There are other things, but then again, you look at the denim itself, and denim is never evenly toned because of the acid washing. Alright, the last flower. I think it would be good to have one good looking flower in this piece. That's as close as we get right there. So let's fake a good looking flower right there and see if it makes her happy. So I evened the skin tones. I removed one of the two flowers. I got rid of the reflection, and their faces are looking a lot more evenly toned. So on to our flower. Let's just grab the part we need and do a copy command, switch back, and up above it all, because it's from a separate photo and won't need the same exposure, I will paste. Okay, so step one, I think I'll trim away the stem that it has. So nice soft brush, because it's not exactly in perfect focus. I'll just trim around this flower here. Just trim right up to there. Now you might be asking yourself, but why aren't you cutting out the entire flower? And I'll tell you why. It's because sometimes you want to see if you can do it without doing all the work. And I know that sounds lazy. Go along here. And I'm just roughly cutting it out. We'll see how much of this actually needs to be cut out. But I'll eliminate, oops, invert my selection, then remove it. Okay. So, positioning, the flower down here, it's too big. So I'll rotate it slightly and make it more the correct scale. Like that. Now it's not lit well, and I have boosted the contrast of everything else. So let's make a curves layer just for this flower head, and holding down Alt, I'll link this curve to the head itself. Okay, so I don't need my darks so much. I mostly need to emphasize my brightening. And now it's more saturated than everything else around it. So we'll throw up a vibrance layer and just mess with our vibrance settings. That's good. It needs to have some good strong yellows in it though. I think the main problem is it's getting too dark. Let's make it less dark. There we go. Very nice. Backing out. I need to evaluate it against everything else, because it's got some nice gold in it. You know, that's actually not too bad. Okay, so there's the little cup. I'm not really a botanist, so I'm not going to know the technical terms, but there's this cup that the flower sits in, that it sprouts out of, that part that opens up and gives you the petals and the stamen and the... Anyway, that's a lesson for another time. But I think if I line the whole thing up like that and just trim this away because it's dark, let's trim it away and see if we can blend it together so it looks like it belongs. So again, soft brush, just painting along there. Looks very nice. Okay, so that's pretty convincing, but I'm going to grab my smudge and just drag some more elements into the flower there. There we go. I like that. Okay. Shall we cheat? I'm kind of in the mood to cheat. Let's cheat, and then I can fix it if I need to. So, selecting the layer itself, I'm going to do a color range selection. And I'll select all the yellow. All that yellow. Now, it's a little bit fuzzy there. Let's see if we can smooth it out. So I'll do that. And then with my marquee tool, I'll right click and let's refine that edge. So here you can get kind of a preview of what the edge is going to look like. Let's smooth it so it doesn't have all those chunky areas. There we go. And, ooh, that's so close, guys. That is so close. Okay, so I'm going to invert the selection, and I'm going to start painting out these leaves. Okay, now with the Control H, I can actually hide the little marching marquee ants so that I can paint this without distraction. So Control H will hide those, and as I paint, I remove background, but not flower. Wow, that couldn't have gone any better if I planned it. It's a small miracle, guys. These Adobe cats, they know what they're doing. This is an amazing set of tools. Saved me a ton of time. Okay, I really like that a lot. I'll press Control D to deselect, and then I will paint out. Actually, no, those are inherent. Huh. Let's back out and see how crazy it looks. Doesn't look too bad. Let's zoom in, and we'll get rid of kind of the pesky former flower that didn't look quite as good. Go back to my flower removal layer. Get a brush that's the proper size. Oh, yeah, let's get the right tool too. Okay, so here's my stamper. And because my stamper is set to current and below, it's not going to borrow this flower. It's not going to borrow any of that. It will only borrow from itself and what's below. So I'm perfectly safe. Alt-clicking here and painting out the old flower. Just like that. Same thing here. Alt-click on those genes and paint out the old flower that's kind of poking through. And zooming out. Not too bad. I think I want to scale the flower down just a little bit because I am kind of hoping that she's okay with this. So having the flower be a little more discreet might help me convince her that it's a good idea. So, discreet flower, about that size. Okay, and zoom in, and we've got some more hiding to do. So, get my stamper and we'll paint out any of the old flower that's showing up. And there you have it, guys. I think I'm going to submit it exactly like this, and hopefully everything goes well. So, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully it was relaxing, and maybe you learned something along the way as well. If you have a photo that you'd like me to work on, or perform some special technique, or you just want to see me perform a miracle on a photo, let me know. You can email me at imagemortician@gmail.com, and I welcome submissions. Thanks for tuning in. Have a restful evening. Bye.